Hey guys, this is Jordan with Texas State, and I'm here with Maira Garcia, and she's the digital news editor of culture at the New York Times. Hi, Maira.
Hi.
Thank you for being here with us today. So, if you want to give yourself a little background about what you do at the New York Times, and just give a little bit of intro to yourself.
Sure thing. So I am, as you said, the digital news editor for culture at the Times. Basically, it's a digital planning role is the best way I could describe it. I'm in charge of figuring out like the best sort of digital rollout for all of our content, and also planning major coverage for major events, namely award shows like Oscars most recently.
Right. Which was a crazy show.
Oh, it was crazy. But it was really exciting, and we, are using a lot of new tools to cover these events. So just sort of like spearheading the efforts and training and getting, about five different departments together to cover this massive event. So yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. So, what year were you a part of the South by Texas State project?
So I was a part of it in 2000. Sorry, I have to think about this for a second. 2009,
Okay.
yeah. Um, I graduated in December of 2009, and I did it that year. And yeah, so
So, what was kind of your path from the project in Texas State to where you are now at the New York Times?
I think South by Southwest has always been sort of this meeting of digital minds that at that point like had really emerged as like the place to learn about what's next in media. And the experience itself was just sort of like profound. Like it's really, it's more than just a festival. It's really a meeting of minds. And I think for the first time, a lot of us felt like, oh, these people speak my language. Like, we went beyond just like, should we use Twitter? It's like, no, everybody, everybody knows that we should do that.
Right.
It's like, how do we go beyond that? And I think that sort of mentality and, people who were thinking about that, was just really exciting for a lot of us. And with that, in covering South by Southwest through the project, you meet so many people. And, a couple years down the line after I had graduated, it's funny, one of the editors at the Times was there, and that's sort of what started the path for me to come to the New York Times. So it's kind of crazy how all those events like are sort of interconnected and, eventually brought me here.
Right. And that gives people like me who are in the class now a lot of hope to be like, hey, it could be us someday. It could achieve
Yeah,
that pinnacle. So that's awesome. Do you have
absolutely.
like any specific memories from the class or from that year at South by or anything that you kind of look back on and just remember fondly?
I mean, it was a lot of not sleeping. I remember that. It was a lot of learning too. I did a lot of video production work while I did the coverage of it, which I think it sort of helped me sharpen my skills and taught me to turn things over really quickly, which was really fun. It was it was just a really great learning experience overall. And not only that, like a lot of my classmates too, because we were all really interested in these things. It's just fun to be able to go to those panels with someone that is in your class, and then you can like have like a real like discussion about those things and how they relate to what we were learning. So yeah, I mean, could I point to a particular event just because it was, almost 8 years ago, which is a little scary when I think about it. I'm like, can I remember a specific event? But I mean, generally speaking, it was just a lot of fun and a lot of learning and a lot of covering different things. And I think it helps, like, thinking back, it's like breeding sort of my news mentality too, and making things quickly, basically appear quickly. So.
Awesome. Well, what advice would you share with someone like myself as a first time, attendee of Interactive, or maybe even someone who's just interested in taking the South by Project class?
Um, Prepare yourself for a lot of work in a very short amount of time. Get lots of sleep. Think about like who you want to cover ahead of time too. If you can get like interviews beforehand, like so that way when you're at the fest, you already know, okay, I'm going to talk to this person or that person, or I'm going to shoot photos of this. Like I think pre-planning is the key, and then just have fun. Like take business cards with you, of course, and connect with as many people as you possibly can, and really like engage in the conversation, like both in person and online. And you'll get so much out of both those things.
Right. Well, what are your plans like moving forward in your career? Like, are you planning? I mean, I know you don't want to like discuss too much, but like, I mean, are you kind of at the pinnacle where you wanted to be, or like, do you still have dreams of growing into other positions? Or
I mean, I first of all say I never ever imagined that I would be at the New York Times. Like, it's not something that I like thought about actively, I guess. Like, but when the opportunity arose, I was like, okay, I got to try this and see if it's for me. And I've learned so much in the 4.5 years that I've been at the Times now, and in the role I'm in, I really love what I do. It's really sort of emphasizes, I think, the best skills that I have, and I get to try a lot of new things, and a lot of my coworkers are just so receptive to some of the ideas that I want us to try, whether it's through social media or like digital presentation of our articles online. It's so exciting to be where I am right now, and I really could not be happier in my role. And if I move up beyond this, like I that would be okay.
Right. Yeah. That's the goal, but you're not dissatisfied with plateauing where you're at, it sounds like. So.
Certainly. Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Things
Yeah.
are okay
Cindy's been sharing, she shared a document with us about like the 2020 plan for the New York Times about improving like interactive stuff. And that I'm assuming you probably that's a lot of what you're doing at the Times, right? It's like coming up with interactive stuff to include into the media.
Right. And, a big effort that we're making right now is just how do we make our report more visual and, incorporating things that, we as on the editing and reporting level can do quickly. And we have an amazing graphics and interactive department, but the reality is like not every article can have their full attention, but there are definitely things we can do that can make our report richer. And I think just sort of pointing those things out to people has been huge, and a lot of people are getting training in our newsroom to do those things, and it's made a big difference. So, the 2020 report, while like has its challenges, like it's only going to make us better. So, it's an exciting time to be here.
Right. And I kind of feel like you might be ahead of the curve in that, just because I know if what I'm learning now in the classes was anything close to what you learned while you were in this, I mean, this is everything that we're learning. This is our final project, essentially, is coming up with this multimedia interactive thing. So that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's if there's a key takeaway I could give to anyone is like, learn as much as you can. The more tools you have in your toolkit, the more valuable you are at any organization. I don't have like crazy coding skills, but I know enough to like, do a few things on my own. And, even that small subset of skills like goes a very long way in this place. And we need, people like that, unicorns, like people who can edit and write well, who can code a little bit, who have like a good like idea of what makes good visual journalism.
Right.
All these things are really key.
Like a Swiss Army knife of journalism, essentially.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it.
Well, you kind of, the biggest takeaway was kind of like basically my last question. I mean, is there anything else you'd want to share with us here in Texas State, or any students or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say like, if this is like a goal of yours to like reach a media organization like this, it takes a lot of work. This place is it's intense, and there are very many brilliant people in this newsroom, and I think that's like key is just like being able to work with people who have other brilliant ideas, and together you can do so many amazing things. So have a strong skill set, work well with others, and like you could reach a place like this, and just put in the hours of work basically. I mean, for me, like sometimes I'll get in at like 9:30 and I'll leave like at 8, but I have to say like my work life is so fulfilling. I really love what I do, and it doesn't feel like work at the end of the day.
Well, I think that's the end goal for most people. So
Yeah.
that's really inspiring. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, and I hope if you're ever back in Austin for South by or otherwise, that you'll look us up. We would love to hang out with you and get to know you better.
Great. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have fun.
Thanks, Myra.
Good luck.